Good morning, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. Hope you had a fantastic Canada Day. And I'd like to thank KC Securities for sponsoring us here at Special Report, both the morning and afternoon edition at 1 o'clock. How was your Canada Day there, Alex?
Great. If anybody at home can see, I got this sweet tan just on the top of my head. Wearing a sweatband outside. Be careful. Make sure you got some sunscreen. Don't end up looking like me. Two-toned Alex.
Yeah, so he's actually setting a fashion trend of wearing a sweatband while golfing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's like a mixture of Harlem Globetrotters and
I googled it this morning.
Tiger Woods or something.
And it said debatable golf fashion bandanas, which headband close enough.
That is
questionable. Yeah, it was in the Golf Digest too. So I'm setting the trend. I'm setting the trend.
Oh wow, Golf Digest, the big magazine.
Well, I mean, when I shaved my head, Post Malone saw it too, and he had to follow suit. But I'm not going to go over the tattoo. So setting trends all over the pop world.
You're not for facial tattoos?
No. Got one coming next week though.
Okay.
It's gonna say on TV and sue online under my eyes.
That's great for promos. Yeah, we don't even have to mention it anymore.
No, I'll just stand there.
Yeah. Well, yesterday actually, Mike, our producer, and I.
You enjoyed your Canada Day.
Yeah, we did. We had a nice play date up at the Apple Fritter Place. We're going to show you a couple photos here.
Look at that.
There we are. That's producer Mike and myself.
Look at those two handsome lads.
Yeah. That's myself and my girlfriend, Juliana. And here's some video.
And there's us again.
Yeah.
And there's the video.
There was a very quick video. Yeah, there we go. That's actually the Apple Fritter Place there that you're seeing there. But yeah, we had a good time up there. That was fun. Those there's a Florida plate. Those are not my Florida plates, I'd like to point out. Yeah, so we saw people from areas that apparently they're not supposed to be here.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best apple fritter that you could ever possibly imagine, how high did that apple fritter rank?
9 or 10.
Wow. Or 10. You think that could be the best ever apple fritter?
They're really good. Actually, Mike's in my ear right now saying how good they are.
Okay.
Yeah. They're worth
bold.
the drive.
It's bold. That's a bold statement.
Cheap. They're like $3.5 or something.
For a 10 out of 10 apple fritter, they should be able to charge whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's well worth the drive, and it's well worth the price. But speaking of yesterday we had heat warning.
Holy did we ever.
Yeah, it was like Miami here. Actually, funny story. It was actually cooler in Miami yesterday than it was here. I've been teasing my girlfriend that we moved to the Miami of the North, and we're actually hotter than Miami
yesterday. Did you enjoy it yesterday, or were you a little too hot?
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Not too hot for Chris?
It was right on the line.
Wow, okay, so we see Chris has his limits when it comes to heat then.
Yeah, it was hot in the sun, but
in the shade,
out of the sun it wasn't so much.
Climatized to it. But
we could have another heat warning today and over the next few days, going all the way into the weekend. You're going to see as high as even 36 with the Humidex. And even at night, I have no idea what Mike just showed there. Oh, it was a beach. Okay. We're just randomly throwing stuff up on the screen for you this morning.
The hot things, the sun.
Yeah, and then at night,
Chris.
During a heat warning, it ranges from 16 to 20 at night Celsius.
Which is still
pretty hot for at night. But if everyone is affected by the heat, and if you are, make sure that you don't leave people or pets in cars with the windows closed and so on.
Drink water before you're thirsty.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like, just be careful is basically
yes,
the
of
thing.
course.
Particularly if you're in a vulnerable group, seniors, if you're pregnant, if you have any health issues affecting your breath, like asthma and so on, just take extra precautions. Make sure you have, a hat, water.
Whatever you need.
Definitely sunscreen.
Yep.
I wore sunscreen yesterday, and certain parts of my body are about the same color as my shirt. So
yeah, I actually really like that shirt when he came in today.
Yeah.
We did good. Red, blue.
Yeah.
I like that.
My shirt almost matches my arms.
Is Chris even wearing a shirt? Who knows?
I might not even be wearing a shirt. I might have just stamped chaps on my
just wore shooting
chest.
sleeves like basketball players, and then went shirtless, and that's why they look like a normal skin tone.
And then also yesterday too, to top off the fact that it was boiling freaking hot.
Yeah.
Where I live, we lost power. So that was great. So even our fans didn't work. We don't have air conditioning. We just use fans because we're out of the sun where we are.
Because you don't need air conditioning. Because Chris can live on the sun at this point, I'm convinced.
Yeah. So my building went dark.
Wow.
As well as a big area around Trunk Road and my McDonald, that area, kind of like where Pino's is and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that area we lost power last night. About 1,000 homes lost power, but it wasn't off for that long. It was off for maybe 90 minutes.
Well, you can manage.
And being the news person I was, I went out to try and find out what it was. And I found 3 firefighters. They're like, yeah, it's just a surgeon probably on shortly.
Oh.
So it wasn't a big deal. I heard when it happened, there was all these sirens. And I was like, oh, something big's happening. I thought someone's
cut the power. They're going to rob the place.
Or someone hit a telephone pole, or like just.
I was trying to go for a grand movie scene, but yeah, that's probably a little more realistic.
Yeah, but there was nothing that happened. There was just a fire truck and 3 firemen, and they're just like, yeah, there's just a power surge. They're fixing it. Beyond
power surge, they can fix it
shortly. So nothing really exciting there. It's just, but yeah, so we lost that. Also, speaking of things to do with the city and driving around, busing. There is a new bus terminal that's going to be built. It's at 111 Huron Street, so it's not that far from where the terminal is now.
I think it's only about a block or 2 down.
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 blocks away.
Okay,
yeah,
4 or 5.
So,
1, 2. Number.
Yeah, not that far. It's gonna be right near where the border is, if you know where that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's only gonna cost about $2 million.
Quick $2 million.
Yeah. Well, another site they looked at was going to be between 36 and 50 million.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
in comparison,
they're saving a little money on this one.
Okay. And what did they say were the advantages of this? Probably a little bit more area, a little bit less congested.
They're going to be able to put everything in one building.
Nice.
And like right now, the building where it's at, one's been in it, there's accessibility issues.
Yeah.
Particularly the washrooms. It's very old. It's run down, and it would actually cost more money to fix that location than it would be to build this new one.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure anybody that's actually used a bus terminal knows, yeah, it's probably not a bad time to start getting a facelift for sure.
Yeah, and earlier this year, the city was given a large amount of money towards building projects, and so part of this is coming from that fund too. So, yeah,
good decision in my books.
Yeah, and the one other thing they have to figure out too is our bus fleet. It's old. It's almost twice as old as the average fleet in Ontario.
Yeah, I remember they bought, I think, 2 buses from Toronto, 2 decommissioned ones from Toronto, and I've seen those go around quite a bit. But
yeah, I've been on them. I was like, wait a second, this is a TTC bus.
Oh, have you been on the other buses in the city, the older ones?
I've been on a few.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt like you were in a limo in comparison.
Yeah, those Toronto buses were probably well over 10 years on the road, probably more.
Wow.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a smaller city. We don't have the transit money that they have in Toronto.
Rightfully so, yeah.
I mean, they get 1 million riders a day in Toronto, so think of how much money they bring in.
Think about how long Sault Ste. Marie would take to hit 1 million riders.
Yeah. Speaking of Toronto, face masks starting July the 7th. City Council in Toronto passed that. One of the Mayor Tory said, you have told us you don't want to see a repeat of what you see when you turn on your TV and see reports from the United States. This is why they went to council with it, and they have decided that it will be mandatory in public indoor spaces to wear masks.
So if you're walking down the sidewalk, not so much, but if you pull off that sidewalk and go pick yourself up maybe an apple fritter, you got to throw one of those on.
Exactly. So speaking of weather, let's go over to Danny as well, and what's going on with the weather.
Hey Chris, hey Alex. So as we know, it's scorching hot outside. We've been seeing temperatures completely exceed what we've already been expecting, and we're actually in a heat warning right now. And if you see behind me, this is an aerial view of Sault Ste. Marie. It's completely gorgeous outside. It's going to continue like that all day. It's going to be up to almost 30 degrees today. It's going to be going up to what feels like 34, so please be very mindful when you're outside today. Remember, drink lots of water, stay shaded. If you have pets, make sure you walk them in the morning or when you know it's going to be later and a little bit cooler into afternoon. And even with this aerial view right now, it's just completely clear. The sky is just phenomenal. It's going to continue like that for up to the next few days actually, so be prepared for some hot weather. We are going to come back after the commercial for our full weather forecast.
What's life without making a few mistakes down the road? A few sharp turns. And doing things for what we adore, but might regret later. A trip to Chuck's Roadhouse isn't one of them. With melt-in-your-mouth AAA steaks, buttery lobster tail, half-priced apps after 9 p.m., an ice-cold draft with all your Roadhouse favorites. Chuck's Roadhouse. Food the way it ought to be, priced the way it used to.
A message from the Government of Canada.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
And welcome back to Special Report, brought to you by KC Securities. I'm here with my guest host, Alex Parr, and we are going to throw it over to the weather for Danny.
Thanks, Chris. So as you can see behind me, we have our 3-day weather forecast. So for today, it's going to be about 30 degrees, and that's going to be going up and feeling like 34. We head into Friday, it's going to be 27 degrees, and it's going to be a low of 14. But remember, we do have this humidex in place, so again, being mindful, stay hydrated, drink lots of water, stay in the shade. Then we go into our Saturday. It's going to be a high of 30 with a low of 14. And even into the evening on Saturday, the nights lately are looking clear. They're going to be hovering between 14 to 15. And then if we want to go into our 7-day forecast, Thursday, it's going to be sunny, today, with a high of 30, and then heading into night, it's going to be 15. Friday, we have mainly sunny with a high of 27, and then a low of 15 heading into the evening. Saturday, we have sunny, it's going to be 30, but be mindful again, it's going to feel like 37 degrees out there, everyone, on Saturday. Keep that in mind. Heading into the evening, it's going to be 17 degrees. Sunday, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be high, it's going to be 29, and that's going to actually feel like 34. So over the next few days, the temperature is going to be exceeding what's already expected. Sunday, it's going to be 18 degrees in the evening. Heading into Monday, it's going to be sunny with a chance of 29, and again, a high of 33. And then heading into the evening, it's going to be 19 degrees. Heading into Tuesday, there's a 60% chance of showers. It's going to be 26 with a high of 30, and then it's going to go cool off into the evening with 19 degrees. On Wednesday, we have a mix of sun and clouds with 29 degrees, and again, it's going to feel like 33, but heading into the evening, it's going to cool off for 18. That is your 7-day forecast, and I'm going to be throwing it back over to the studio. There you go, Chris and Alex.
Thank you very much, Danny. Well, it looks like we're going to be warm for the next little while.
Lucky you, eh, Chris?
Yes, finally.
Well, lucky for the food bank, the Sault Ste. Marie Police on Tuesday. We did not get a chance to touch on this, but we definitely need to. They made a $3,000 donation to the local Salvation Army. That's going to go to stockpiling food at the center. So I know a lot of students right now are having a hard time, international students, with either OSAP running out or whatever it is, financial situations. And students especially have been going to the food banks to try to keep their stomachs full. So this is especially important right now. So thanks to police. What a cool story. Good on you.
Yes, thank you very much. This virus has just thrown everything into a loop. Yeah. And now some people have been out of work for 3 months. Right, and I mean these students who 4 months. These students who weren't prepared to make these accommodations over these 3 months, maybe thought they'd be going home or whatever it is. And international students, they're just stuck here. There's no flights home. No, they're stuck. Imagine being halfway across the world from what you're used to in your family. And now you're running out of money too. So stay strong, guys. We're really rooting for you. At Algoma, they have 51 international students right now living in the dormitories that can't leave the country. Wow. Yeah. So it's a very serious problem right now because it's also going to affect education going into the fall as well.
Right.
Because we can't get international students in. We can't get the ones that are here able to go back home and work and make money. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in September.
Yeah. I'm curious as to see when that final financial aid is conducted by the government and when the students can actually finally go and get that. Hopefully, fingers crossed for them sooner rather than later. I know that hasn't been finalized quite yet.
Yeah, and actually touching on some other stories we did earlier in the week, we talked about airlines eliminating social distancing.
Right.
And already they have had, there was a WestJet flight from Toronto to Halifax with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. And they are actually saying that everyone within basically 5 rows of either direction, plus across in either direction, could all have been exposed. But they're actually telling everyone on the flight to go get tested.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, everyone was wearing masks, but it was still transmitted. So maybe the airlines will start to rethink that.
Maybe they should just get one of those fancy filters.
Oh yeah, from that church in Arizona that Trump went to, that the COVID filter that eliminates. Yeah, they should be using those, I would think. Yeah, but
who knows?
And then also in Kingston, we talked about nail salon.
Yep.
It was already at 25 on Tuesday with how many people caught COVID-19. Now that number is up another 5, but they are saying it could be as high as 50 by the end of this week. All from one person at a nail salon who worked there, and it's just spread. And this kind of shows you what community spread is like.
Exactly.
This is one of the reasons why we're saying no social gatherings over 10 people. You know, it's
So the Toronto nightclub over the weekend that had 125 people with no social distancing or any measures like that isn't allowed? They shouldn't be doing that?
No, that's not allowed.
Oh, so the police were right in cracking down on that night?
Yes. And actually, come to think of it, that there's that bar in Michigan too that over 100 people caught COVID-19 from because they were there all drinking and standing close to each other.
It's just so weird. The government tells them not to stand together. They stand together and it spreads. It's just this crazy concept.
Yeah, it's weird how the public health people know what's going on. But anyways, we'll be right back after the break. Hold tight.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
And welcome back to Special Report, brought to you by KC Securities. I'm here with my co-host, Alex Parr, and there was a big landslide that happened overnight It happened over in Myanmar. It was a jade mine. And so far, the official death count has now risen to 113 people, and 54 others were sent to 3 different hospitals. This was a huge landslide that went into a mine, and actually where this took place is actually the largest jade mine in the world. So you can see the video there, but horrible situation that's happening there right now. Obviously they're still digging through the rubble trying to find people, see if they can find anyone else still alive there, but yeah, not good news coming out of there this morning. And this should be a warning to us in Ontario about keeping social distancing up and face masks. And
listen up to this.
California's going the reverse direction, so is other states like Florida as well. Governor Gavin Newsom, he is basically shutting almost the whole state back down. He's shutting it down by counties, but
he's urging the rest.
Yeah, he's urging the rest basically to follow. But three quarters of the state's counties are now officially completely closed. This is any indoor operations of any kind. So that's restaurants, wineries, and tasting rooms, family entertainment, movie theaters, zoos, museums, card rooms, gambling. Bars are closed indoors and outdoors. And this is going to be in for 3 weeks at a bare minimum.
The unfortunate thing about it is it had to happen. That too, but it had to happen to somebody for the rest of at least America's eyes to open up. They're not progressing forward with these phases anymore. They're going
the
backwards to the start. And if you don't want to wear your masks, and if you don't want to, if you want to keep hanging out with your friends in however big of a group, this is what's going to happen. And if you like going to patios now, you've got to be responsible to make sure you keep it. Don't ruin it for everybody else.
Yes, and there's some rumors coming out that there's nothing official here, but there's some rumors that we're going to see what does stage 3 going to look like in Ontario.
Let's hope we even get there.
Yeah. So, and like where I used to live in Miami, just in Miami-Dade County, they've now had 1,000 deaths from COVID-19 in one county, Miami-Dade. Now it's a big county, it's Miami, so it's you're talking a couple million people. Still,
you know what else is big?
1,000 deaths.
1,000.
Yeah, and that's not all of Florida. That's one county. Yeah, and they are now going the reverse direction as well. As of tomorrow, all the beaches will be closed across the entire state. They've taken alcohol out of bars. They're rolling everything back. This is what happens when you don't listen to the scientists and you just. The U.S. government, particularly the White House, has ignored this from the beginning. Anyone that speaks out against it usually gets fired. I don't know how Anthony Fauci still has a job. Because he's literally last week, he came out and he testified, earlier in the week, he testified that we could have 1,000 new cases a day if it's not started to be taken much more seriously in the U.S. Like the rest of the world. And flights to Europe are back on for some countries, but not from America.
No, the only flights that I know in Canada that you don't even have to quarantine yourself for are between New Brunswick, all within Canada. Any of that international travel, oof.
Yeah. You got to quarantine when you come back. So anyway, speaking of coming back, we're going to go to commercial and we'll be right back in a minute.
Even though we can't always meet in person, we can still listen.
Even though schools are closed, help is still available in your community.
Even though you may be worried, services and supports are still here. In stressful times like these, families need mental health supports more than ever.
We are here to make sure you can stay connected to your community and culture.
Nous savons qu'il peut être difficile de rester à la maison, mais vous n'êtes pas seul.
And we know asking for help for yourself and others can be hard.
But there are people in your community who are ready to support you.
No matter your age, gender, sexual identity, race, or culture.
No matter the day, time, or issue.
We're here to help.
And welcome back to Special Report. I'd like to thank KC Securities for sponsoring both the 8 a.m. and the 1 p.m. edition, and we'll be back at 1 p.m. today as well with another edition of Special Report. Both Alex and I will be back here at 1. And speaking of that, let's throw it over to Danny. Who else will be here at 1 o'clock for the weather?
Thanks, Chris and Alex. So just a little bit of an update if you're just tuning in now. We do want everyone to know that today's weather, it's hot. It's going to continue being hot. We have a heat warning in effect for the next few days, actually. And as of right now, it's probably about 21 degrees. That's going to be going up to 30. It's going to feel like it's 34 today. Heading into tomorrow, it's going to be bright and sunny as well. It's going to be a high of 27, but it's going to feel like 32. And then it's going to be a low of 14 into the evening. And come Saturday, again, it's going to be bright and sunny with a high of 30 and a low of 14. And that is our 3-day weather forecast. Back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Danny. Alrighty, let's talk NHL and the Olympics.
Yes, speaking of heating up,
yes.
See what I did there? The CBA talks for the NHL are underway. That's the collective bargaining agreement in place of how money's made and how the following few years are going to follow with the NHL structure. If you are an Olympic fan, you'll know that they did not go to South Korea the last Olympics. Owners of the NHL team said that's a little too dangerous. We don't really want them in that part of the world. Understandable, but now the NHL players are using it as a bargaining chip. They want to go back in 2022's Olympics, and it looks like that's what the talks are bringing. And they're also talking about 2026 Olympics as well, as the CBA will cover both of those. But more will come clear in the next few days, according to Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet. So exciting times. I love Olympic hockey, and I think the best players in the world should be there.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense, and they've played in the past. So
yes, I can see people's points where they say it should be an amateur Olympics because it's not professional athletes, but at the same time, I want to see the best world competition that I can, and that's what the NHL provides.
Yeah, I mean, it's the top league in the world, and players from other leagues are playing in it that are in professional leagues.
Exactly, and
it's really about evening the playing field, particularly for America and Canada.
Yes, exactly.
Because a lot of these other leagues, like over in Europe,
Russia has its own entire league, so they went last year to the Olympics and they tore it up.
Yeah, it actually levels the playing field if you allow them in. So
agreed.
But anyways, going on. Speaking of sports. As many of you know, my regular co-host, Colette, is in the hospital with burns. She is still there. And we've been collecting money through GoFundMe. It's now over $9,300, $9,360. And I'd like to specifically thank the Jock Steen Memorial Celtic Supporters Club, Hamilton, Ontario, who donated $1,000.
Nuts. Absolutely
$1,000.
Crazy.
So thank you very much to them. Thank you to all the other donors as well.
Let's double that goal today. We set the goal for 5,000. We're almost there. By the time it's
10.
1 o'clock show, we're going to have that talk. Yes. Let's do it, Suzanne Marie.
So you can go to our Facebook page to see, you can click through to donate to Colette's fund, and it's greatly appreciated. We'll see you back here at 1 p.m. Alex be on with news all day, and I'll see you at 7 as well. Great morning.